What's going on, partners? Today we're going to be talking about prison kites. We're going to be using the San Francisco Criminal Lawyer blog because a lot of the policies that have been implemented throughout California's correctional system have been coming out of San Francisco. Let's define what a kite is. A kite is a clandestine note usually written in a small piece of paper in very small print and used by inmates to communicate with one another, either inside or outside of jail. Kites are rolled up and often wrapped in plastic to minimize their size and to facilitate concealment in an inmate's clothing, mouth, or rectum. Kites are considered a jail security risk because inmates may use them to communicate about smuggling contraband or to plan assaults on other inmates. Now, if an inmate is willing to conceal one of these notes, especially on the last one here, wouldn't it be safe to assume that that message contains some criminal or clandestine information? See, one of the arguments of the hunger strike is that inmates were being validated as prison gang members solely for their possession of these notes. They portrayed kites as a simple note or message, but the public needs to understand the law enforcement perspective. Here's a clip from a Pelican Bay documentary on Batman's YouTube page.
The president of a corporation or the head of a gang housed here, then people are going to come here to get their information. Inmates are going to have to get messages from other institutions to here. Gang leaders here send out information, notes, messages.
Actually, as secure as the shoe is, I think it's rather easy for these inmates to communicate with other inmates throughout the state of California and to communicate their gang business on the streets. One of the ways is through the mail. We screen and monitor mail, but you're talking about a couple of thousand inmates here at Pelican Bay, and we can't look at every piece of mail. One of the other ways that they are able to communicate is through the visits.
They do communicate, and it's a constant cat and mouse game.
When we return, a coded message reveals a savage plot.
What we've determined these to be are hit lists for 2 of the prison gangs, and there's approximately 500 to 600 names on here.
These kites can contain inmates' name, booking number, where they're housed, and their court date. If you need to deliver a message to a particular unit, when an inmate in that particular unit is going to have court date, you can arrange for a message to be delivered, given to that inmate. After his court date, that inmate returns to his unit and is able to deliver the message to the receiver. It is very elaborate, but believe me, it works. On the YouTube channel Mopfacts, we can see how inmates actually pass messages between their cells.
Lieutenant Perez showed us other ways the inmates foil the security. He brought us onto a cell block where we spoke to Brian Moore of the ARYAN Brotherhood, a white supremacist prison gang. Well, how long have you been here?
In this shoe right here?
Yeah.
Since 99.
Moore, who's serving 18 to life for second-degree murder, can't see his next-door neighbor or anyone else on the block. And yet, they communicate by what they call phishing.
What is phishing?
You just take your little string line right here with a little weight on it.
A string line? Now,
Yeah.
you made that?
Yeah, I just got a tore-up sheet.
He makes the line 40 feet long by tearing up his underwear or his bedsheet and braiding the threads together. And he fashions a weight out of soap.
And you just throw it out the door and somebody else throws their other line out.
Just then, a written message came flying down from the upper tier. Brian demonstrated how he fishes by flinging a line out, hooking it around the other line, and reeling it in. Once Brian ties the 2 lines together, the inmates easily send messages back and forth.
If you know that they're phishing and that they're sending messages like this, why do you let it go on?
We don't. The officers are required to search so many cells every day. The officer will come in, if he finds the fish line, he will take it at that time. The problem is that no sooner than I take it, he will go back to his bed sheet and he'll unravel the string again, the threads, and start the process all over.
With inmates that have nothing to lose, the authorities are left with nothing but frustration.
Do I leave him out sheets? Do I take his t-shirts away? Do I leave him naked in his cell? How's that going to sound?
Once they communicate with each other, the most effective way they get their messages to their foot soldiers on the outside is through the mail, which is one of their rights guaranteed by law.
Well, they use code.
They use codes that have been so hard to decipher, they have been sent to FBI cryptologists in Washington. With nothing but time alone in his cell, Brian Moore spent years learning an ancient Norse language that hasn't been used since 600 A.D.
I've got a key right here for you if you want.
Show me a key.
See across the top right there? Got the ABCs.
That's the A, B, and I can match them up.
Like other inmates, he sends out encoded messages embedded in intricate artwork.
Would you mail this picture to...
I would mail it to a girlfriend, and then the girlfriend would mail it to a homeboy or somebody else, somebody that I wanted to pass the message to.
And so what happens is that when this goes out, if you're not paying attention to what's happening, if you're not looking for the indicators of how they communicate, a beautiful piece of artwork becomes a message to have someone killed.
Now, I show you this part because I would like to add these pictures and these messages to the definition as KITE as well. For me, the definition of KITE, just throughout my years of experience, would be any type of hidden message that these guys are trying to send. Because a lot of hidden messages do come in through the mail as an obvious letter, as an obvious message. And if you're not paying attention to certain details, drawings, and pictures like this, especially if you don't even have the code to decipher, you're never going to find out. So just think about the amount of letters that detention facilities get. When I go through mail, I see hundreds of pictures and drawings. I'm never going to decode these messages. These guys are able to communicate right under our noses. But when we were trying to minimize this by isolating them and putting them in the hole, it becomes a human right issue because these guys claim that they're just simple drawings and they don't mean anything. Larry Lawton is going to tell you the extent that inmates are willing to go to get a message delivered.
Nobody likes to have to hide something in their rectum, but it's just you get something that you get used to. And you know what? If you didn't do that, sometimes it might, you might get killed in prison. But there's other reasons to suitcase stuff too. If you had contraband in your cell, if you had drugs in your cell, if you had a special note from somebody, what you call suitcase it. And then when you suitcase it, they can't find it. They can come into your cell at 12 at night, 1 at night, and scream, "All right, shakedown, everybody against the door, against the door." And they open up all the doors, and everybody's got to get ready and got to get out. And they don't give you time to hide something, anything. There'll be guards on every door, literally on every door. And when they come in, you don't know they're coming in. You're sleeping. All of a sudden, it's not like you have time to jump up, use the bathroom, stick something up your rectum, and then hide and go. They'll have somebody literally at your door watching inside the door. So when they say, "All right, everybody, lights on," they bang the doors, and you literally like, what's going on? And you get up, and it's what they call a surprise shakedown. So what they'll do is they'll get everybody, and they'll watch you 24 hours a day. Now, if you went to bed with it up your rectum, what are they going to do? They don't know. They're literally watching you. They don't know where everything is. They're not taking you, suspecting everybody in that unit is hiding something in their rectum. Now, we didn't do that often. You got a feel of the prison. You got a feel of what was going on. You got an understanding of what.
There you go, partners. Again, if you have to go to sleep with a message in your rectum, how dangerous is that message? I myself witnessed a message that was being delivered in the foreskin. That's right, that skin. It went from there to the receiver's mouth. Now, this was around the time that we had to wear masks. As I made my way over to the inmate, I was really hoping that it was going to be just behind his mask. When I called him over, of course, he ignores me. He turns around, swallows it, then acknowledges me, comes over, shows me his mouth, and it is gone. Fortunately, the whole thing was captured on video surveillance. We had just gotten some brand new HD cameras. Now, a prisoner's awakening is going to share a story about TODD ASHKER fumbling a kite. TODD ASHKER was part of the Pelican Bay State Prison SHU Short Courtier Collective, who represented the agreement to end hostilities, who also sued the state on the ASHKER versus Brown case, where he won, abolishing the SHU and requesting more rehabilitation programs to be implemented throughout the state's correctional system.
And I seen TODD ASHKER coming, and he sees me, he perks up, he's like, "Hey, come here." Start walking towards him. "What's up?" And the catwalk is like right above us. There's a cop right there with the Mini 14 on the shoulder, boom, whatever. Cops are, a couple cops on this side, a couple cops on that side, standing against the wall. Regular sunny day. And he's like, yeah, I got a one time going back over there. This is around the time when he got snatched up. So obviously he has some shit to fucking message to get to his brothers, you know? And I wasn't the only one. There was maybe about workers, Sureño workers. I'm not saying I'm important or not, but I'm saying trust is everything. There were Sureños and everything. Dudes that were on the lower yard, one block as well. They were right there with me, went ahead of me, went in, whatever. They were there. He didn't call nobody. He called me. But, you know, like I said, I was slanging some shit to him. So if anybody, if he knew he could trust anybody, he knew he could trust me. So he calls me over. He's like, I got a one time, bam. I was like, yeah, say less. I mean, I'm expecting, you know, like I said, this is no knock on Todd ASHKER, regardless of what his status is. And I'll speak on that right now. I'm talking about a moment frozen in time. And he's got a one time, and I'm expecting a small ass wheel out wrapped up, like in the hole of the shoe or anywhere. Even the mainline shit in Corcoran, what's the new Corcoran? You know, like, to me, it's just like what I got from him. He ends up handing me a kite, right? Or he tried to. And as he's handed it to me, boom, he drops it. Keep in mind, this dude is an ARYAN Brotherhood member, you know? And when he drops it, I'm like, oh, hell no. Like, to me, it's just like, you know, this dude's giving me a one time. If he's giving me a wheel kite, one time, all the same shit. Our policies always treat all kites, all amapiles, treat all of them as they're hot. We even had a whole clowning system, not clowning system, but saying like, orale, fucking, you guys, like in the shoe and the hole, whatever, you guys got one, amapiles, anything going to the other side, whatever. Try to minimize the love letters, meaning like the friendly kites. Like, hey, bro, how you doing? Let me get a cup of coffee, whatever. We try to minimize it just to shit that's really important, right? So I say that to say that every single kite must be considered hot because you never know what the fuck's in it. The words, you know, and we're trying to preserve and protect everybody's interest, you know? So he drops it and I'm like, shit. And inside of me, I'm like, damn. I kneel down, boom, pick it up. And it was a fucking square kite. Not wrapped up in plastic, nothing. I think just about the only thing I could have done with it was try to chew it in time before the motherfucker snatched me up. And if they try to snatch me up, especially with the ARYAN brother member, a cop try to get that one time, I'm a fire on him. That's why I was said on a lot of my videos, like, I got lucky to get out because at the time, like, we know protocol. I haven't made the decision of being tired and going to the other side. At this point, like, I'm still with the business, meaning cause-wise, for the cause. So, like I said, if a cop tries to fucking take that kite from me, coming from my ARYAN Brotherhood, say less. Beep, 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 fire on them. I don't know if I would have been able to chew it up or not while I'm sucking boxing with these dudes, but, you know, that's the type of shit that dedication was, you know, that's what it entailed. So, thankfully, I was able to pick it up. These cops are, like, literally not giving a fuck. One of them actually seen the whole thing. He didn't say shit. Obviously, being that Todd is who he is, you know, he has the power of the lawsuit, lawyers that come see him all the time. This dude was instrumental, along with a lot of the organization members in the short corridor in Pelican Bay, that were able to get everybody out of the warehouse, meaning the shoes, indeterminate sentences for decades. You know, this is the dude that was instrumental. His name was on the fucking lawsuit, you know. I went through two of those hunger strikes and another one that was not related to it. And one of them was a Tehachapi shoe, and then we were starving ourselves, man.
Now, this guy sounds like he's down for the cause, because I just shared to you the story that it went from the skin to the mouth. I mean, it didn't come from the same place, but he was willing to chew it up to destroy the message. But imagine you're not. Imagine you're just a regular inmate and you get called over by this leader of a gang and you're asked to deliver a message. Would you do it? Now, if you deliver this message, you don't know what this message contains. The message can be facilitating a drug purchase, a murder, coercion. Should you not be held responsible for the potential violence that message could have inflicted? As humans, we have the ability to make choices, and you could deny your services and not deliver that message. I'm going to end with this. The agreement to end hostilities was a KITE. It was a way to communicate to inmates that new leadership among the Big Four was going to take place on October 10th, 2012, and for the prison population to align themselves to the new order, or else there was going to be consequences. Now, these consequences are not outlined in the agreement to end hostilities, but they are documented by historic events, inmate interviews, and data. But for now, partners, that is all I got. Remember to hold the line and let's hold them accountable.